Woo! Almost didn't make it on time tonight. Yep, this is me not paying attention to the time. So, I hope everybody's having a good apocalypse today. It's probably about 1,000 degrees here in my unair-conditioned home. So, it's torment. Anyway, it's time for more Tales for the Mom Zone. And I wanted to start out with one that was, I'm going to do the serious one first and then the fun one second, because I can do whatever the heck I want. So the first one is a more serious topic, and it's the ABCs of alcohol poisoning. And it's from September 23rd, 2012. Pulling up to our son's dorm at Virginia Commonwealth University at 2 a.m. to pick him up from his first weekend home, we saw the flashing lights of emergency vehicles and a crew taking a stretcher to our son's door. We were relieved to learn that he was not the one in danger. He was the one who helped save a student suffering from what appeared to be alcohol poisoning. Knowing alcohol is a college pitfall that can hurt grades and lead to injuries, date rape, and even death, we all pray our parenting holds through freshman year. But we're up against increasing peer pressure, new freedoms, and the belief in immortality through the college years. He never had alcohol before and went to a party, my son Zoltan, 18, reported after the unconscious, barely responsive young man was taken away by the paramedics. When he came in, we didn't know how bad it was, and I asked him what he drank. He just said, everything. And then he was out cold. For the past 7 years, we've lived just blocks from Old Dominion University's dorms. We've seen alcohol abundance and students mix. The results range from vandalism to quadriplegia after a young man dove off a pier right across from our home into the river at low tide while intoxicated, breaking his neck and becoming a quadriplegic. In Norfolk, yards from the residence hall at ODU, 7-Eleven has moved into an old convenience store and is expanding the hours to 24/7. The old store sold beer kegs and other alcohol, but it wasn't open 7 days a week. Now, 7-Eleven must reapply for the alcohol license, giving neighbors the rare opportunity to remove this source of alcohol from the front doorstep of the dorms. After his experience at VCU, my son was angered to hear about the 7-Eleven opening up near ODU dorms. The more available alcohol is for seniors who buy it legally, the more it gets poured into freshmen who can't handle it, he said. That's the same all over. Freshmen tend to think a drunken buddy is funny. How many times have we seen photos on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter of a student passed out with things scrawled in Sharpie marker across his or her face? During the incident at VCU, my son said the resident advisor on duty had done his job. Hearing that the boy was drunk, he immediately came to check on him. When he found the boy asleep, he said he'd return in the morning. But Zoltan, a criminal justice, Homeland Security major with good instincts in a crisis, said his suite mates would need to continue checking on their friend. He was, he said, dead weight and looking grim. During that discussion, the young man, spread eagle on his back, had begun to buck, choking as he regurgitated the payload of booze. Zoltan turned the boy on his side and told the others to call the RA. He was choking on his own vomit, Zoltan recalled, but his suite mates wanted to wait and see. They worried that the student would surely be in trouble for underage drinking if they summoned outside help. I told them better safe than sorry, my son said, repeating the words he'd heard from me all his life. We had to get outside help. And you know what? I'd rather have him alive and in trouble than explain to his parents why we left him. Well, as anyone who lives in Larchmont knows, the 7-Eleven got and still has its alcohol license, and it is habitually bad out there when school's in session. In some weird way, just reading this story and remembering that time, it makes me wonder if the pandemic isn't saving lives at this university, because on more than one occasion, either I or one of my neighbors has ministered to a deathly ill ODU student who was on the verge of alcohol poisoning. And it's true. Their companions, other students, see someone in that kind of dire distress, and they don't call for help because their first worry is that they're going to get in trouble. They're going to get in trouble for either supplying the alcohol to a minor, underage student, or they're worried about the student. Hey, Andrew, they're worried about the student getting in trouble. So I think Zoltan had a spot on point there that, yeah, we would all rather explain to a student why we got them, into trouble by getting them help, than to explain to their parents why their child's never coming home again. All right, we're going to lighten this up. Yes, we are. It's time to talk about a different parenting situation. Mario Day. Mario Day, ways to score big bonding points. If you don't know this little guy, he's a video game character, but I think everybody knows Mario. Mario. So, have a seat, Mario. Relax. Mario Day. Gaming is usually not something kids and parents see eye to eye on, but Mario Day gives mom or dad the chance to reflect on bonding over the characters of the popular Nintendo game series. So, this is back, I think, also 2012. Today's Mario Day, named for the classic Nintendo game character who spawned his own series of adventures, which presents an opportunity for parents of gamer kids to boot up the bonding in some very unique ways. Mario Day is a pseudo-holiday celebrated on March 10th because somewhere, deep in a teen layer somewhere, a gamer looked at a calendar and saw MAR 10 for March 10th, which looks suspiciously like the name Mario. And thus Mario Day was hatched. Mario is the pizza-loving plumber who first appeared in the game Donkey Kong. So far, the best celebration I found was hosted in the DC Public Library in Washington last Saturday and involved kids from local art programs creating various projects and eating Mario-themed cakes. Today, my 10-year-old son went to school wearing his favorite Mario shirt and a red Mario cap made by my mother. He carried with him one of the plushies, the stuffed toys, that we had made together of various Mario game characters. Prizes if you know who it is. Come on, Andrew. Come on. Work with me. While some may roll their eyes at me for encouraging my son to carpe Mario diem, I think it's important to find unique ways to participate in our kids' interests. My motivation comes from my husband Robert's favorite story about a failed attempt made by his father to bond with Robert's younger sister Kelly when she was little. The story goes that when Kelly, now a new mom with a little boy named Baxter, was a child, their father tried to sit on the floor and engage her in some Barbie action. He was rebuffed, as only a scandalized little girl can manage. No! Kelly howled, according to family lore. Daddies don't know how to play with Barbies. This has become the buzz phrase in our house that's used whenever one of us tries and fails to make an inroad into one of our son's interests. Mommies don't know how to do Legos, and dads can't skateboard are two laments that we've heard when we've tried to get in on their playtime over the years. I admit that last year I didn't know a Yoshi, a little dragon-looking character that Mario rides, from a Goomba. For those of you who are in the contest, a brown, snaggletooth bad guy, until our son Quinn announced that he was embarking on a solo sewing project and needed me to take him to a craft store. Yep. I don't sew. In my world, sewing is something that happens to other people. However, Quinn was supremely confident because he had studied a series of videos on YouTube, how to make your own star plush by a man from England calling himself Goomzilla, after a Mario game guy named Goomba. I want to make a Luma, Quinn said. It's a star. How hard can it be? Beware the words, how hard can it be, when uttered by a child with an obsession of any kind. This goes for little girls who want daddy to build a tree house or a doll mansion, or boys telling mom that a soapbox derby car is a snap because they saw the Little Rascals do it. Therefore, I watched the how-to video with great skepticism and realized it actually looked like something that I could manage. So, we hit the store and we bought felt, thread, and needles. Apparently, we also needed a pin cushion that looked like a tomato because Goomzilla had one, so we got that too. A few hours later, we had two Lumas, one by Quinn, the other one by me. I thought it over. The next morning, Quinn had a sales pitch all ready, complete with video tutorials for making Mario plush mushrooms. Yep. We graduated to mushrooms, and I knew that we weren't going to stop until we reached the summit of Mount Yoshi, thanks to Goomzilla. Come on, Mom. We went this far together, Quinn coached. The kid had me hooked on the magic word parents long to hear from kids of a certain age. Together. Yeah. When one of my four sons comes to me with a chance to do something together, I'm willing to make that parental stitch in time to save 9. By that I mean I would rather do the work to bond now than wait and try and connect with my son at teenage or beyond when he's locked in a dark room with a game console and a bag of Cheetos. And I'm not saying that that's what's happening in my house right now, but it could be. And I just lost where I was. The really interesting thing I learned from this is that my sons had all wanted to get me into gaming, but failed. Seeing their younger brother's success at bringing Mom into Mario's world, they pounced on me, asking for plushies of their own. They're teenagers, but this was the chance that they'd been waiting for, to open a gaming dialogue, so I would see and relate to the passion that often leads me to shout, "Stop gaming and read a book!" I still shout that, but now I shout, "I'm so excited that you finally got a shiny." It's Pokemon. But you still have to get that place where you can halt the campaign and take time to read or walk the dog. They realize my gaming knowledge is child's play compared to theirs, but they respect that I make the effort to engage them in something that they love. I also know that in honor of Mario Day, I'm making pizzas shaped like giant mushrooms with pepperoni for spots. And that's bonding. Yes, sir. And I will have you know that during this pandemic, I learned how to play Super Smash Bros. My favorite character is Samus Aran, in case you're wondering, because I can play it and not die every single time. I hope you've had a great night. And this is me signing off. Good night to you all. And happy gaming. Good night, guys.